Imagine being dropped into the middle of the ocean, far from land. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? This fear isn't unfounded. The ocean depths have always been more unsettling than anything on land. Throughout history, the sea has housed creatures far more terrifying than their terrestrial counterparts. A fascinating documentary, Sea Monsters, explores the top 10 deadliest seas of all time, including the Jurassic waters with giant plesiosaurs and the Paleozoic oceans teeming with sea scorpions. However, these pale in comparison to the ultimate nightmare, the western interior seaway of the late Cretaceous period. This prehistoric sea, often dubbed Hell's Aquarium, spanned parts of present-day United States, Mexico, and Canada, splitting the continent into two islands, Laramidia and Appalachia. For 34 million years, from the early Cretaceous to the early Paleocene epoch, it was home to a plethora of monstrous predators. At its peak during the Campanian Age, around 80 million years ago, the seaway was a warm, tropical expanse stretching up to 970 km wide and 3,200 km long, yet surprisingly shallow, averaging about 50 meters deep. The western interior seaway was a predator's paradise, dominated by the fearsome mosasaurs. These massive aquatic reptiles, resembling giant monitor lizards with flippers, were the apex predators of their time. They could grow up to 59 feet long and were adept hunters, thanks to their sleek, streamlined bodies and powerful tails. Among the mosasaurs, three stood out: Cledastes, Platecarpus, and Tylosaurus. Cledastes, the smallest, grew up to 20 feet long and was incredibly agile, hunting fish and invertebrates in the shallower parts of the seaway. Platecarpus, slightly larger at 24 feet, weighed about a ton and primarily fed on smaller fish and squid, its fragile teeth indicating a preference for softer prey. But the true terror of the seaway was Tylosaurus, a giant among giants reaching lengths of up to 52 feet. This formidable predator had large, serrated teeth, perfect for tearing through prey, including plesiosaurs, turtles, birds, and even other mosasaurs. Tylosaurus was not just a hunter, it was a bully, dominating its environment with brute force and an unexpected weapon: its snout. This snout, backed by robust shock absorption structures, likely served as a powerful battering ram, making Tylosaurus a master ambush predator. The western interior seaway was indeed a nightmare, filled with creatures that would make even the bravest souls shudder. This ancient sea, with its monstrous inhabitants, reminds us why the depths of the ocean remain a place of fear and fascination. Tylosaurus, a hyper-aggressive marine predator, was notorious for using its snout as a battering ram. This creature attacked nearly everything, including other tylosaurs, with evidence of injuries found on adult specimens likely from these violent encounters. One documented case even shows a Tylosaurus fatally ramming a mosasaurus, shattering its skull. While Mosasaurus held the title of the largest mosasaur, sometimes reaching up to 56 feet long and weighing over 10 tons, it didn't have the same battering capability. Instead, it boasted a formidable bite, with giant teeth designed for slicing and dicing. Its bite force, estimated between 13,000 and 16,000 pounds per square inch, was 4 times that of a saltwater crocodile, making it a top predator in the western interior seaway. Mosasaurus used ambush tactics to catch prey, relying on powerful binocular vision rather than a keen sense of smell, providing clear views even in murky waters. Other large mosasaurs like Prognathodon, though slightly smaller, also had fearsome bites and added to the roster of deadly predators in this ancient sea. Yet the western interior seaway wasn't just home to the largest mosasaurs, it also housed one of the largest crocodilians ever, Deinosuchus. This colossal crocodile likely lived in bays, estuaries, and along the coast, occasionally venturing into deeper waters. Specimens suggest that Deinosuchus grew larger on the western side of the seaway, reaching up to 39 feet in length and weighing around 8.5 tons. Unlike the more slender mosasaurs, Deinosuchus had a robust build and was armored with large, heavy osteoderms, providing both defense and support for walking on land. Deinosuchus also had an incredibly powerful bite. Its broad, alligator-like skull and well-developed jaw muscles delivered a bite force potentially exceeding that of a fully grown T-Rex, with estimates suggesting over 100,000 newtons, enough to crush a car. Its teeth, sharper at the front and blunter at the back, were perfect for crushing prey, making Deinosuchus a formidable predator in both the water and on land. In summary, the western interior seaway was a dangerous place, teeming with giant, fearsome predators. From the ramming Tylosaurus and the biting power of Mosasaurus, to the crushing force of Deinosuchus, this ancient body of water was a true prehistoric nightmare, filled with creatures that would make even the bravest explorers think twice about taking a swim. Imagine being back in time, near the shores of the ancient western interior Seaway. Here, one of the most fearsome predators was Deinosuchus, a massive crocodilian that lurked in the bays, estuaries, and coastal areas. This creature was similar to the American alligator, opportunistically feeding on anything it could catch. Fossil evidence suggests it preferred marine turtles, large fish, and even dinosaurs that ventured too close to the water. The coastlines and shallow reefs were incredibly dangerous, but the open waters were no safer. In the deeper areas, strange and terrifying cephalopods roamed. These ancient relatives of today's squids and octopuses were not as large as the mosasaurs or Deinosuchus, but they were still formidable predators. Among them were Tusoteuthis and Enchoteuthis, large, frightening creatures that confused paleontologists due to their mix of squid-like and octopus-like features. These cephalopods could grow up to 10 feet long, and as they matured, they turned from prey into predators, hunting fish, invertebrates, and even baby mosasaurs and plesiosaurs. Like modern octopuses, they used their 10 tentacles lined with suckers to snare prey, which they then devoured with their beaks. They might have even had the ability to squirt ink to escape predators and used jet propulsion to navigate the waters quickly. Despite their many advantages, these cephalopods had soft bodies, making them vulnerable to attacks. However, another ancient cephalopod, Parapuzosia, had a solution. Unlike Tusoteuthis and Enchoteuthis, Parapuzosia was an ammonite, a member of an extinct group of cephalopods that had spiral shells made of calcium carbonate. These shells provided significant protection and housed most of their bodies. Parapuzosia was the largest known ammonite, with some individuals having shells up to 11 feet in diameter and weighing over 1.5 tons. If you could imagine its body uncurled, it would stretch to a staggering 60 feet, making it one of the heaviest invertebrates of all time. Despite its massive size, the daily life of Parapuzosia remains a mystery since all members of its order are extinct. We do know that they inhabited the entire western interior Seaway and stayed in the upper layers of the water, rarely going below 800 feet. This means they were not hard to find, and encountering one might have been more likely to give you a heart-stopping scare than to actually result in predation. In summary, the western interior Seaway was teeming with a diverse range of predators, from the massive Deinosuchus to the enigmatic Parapuzosia. These ancient creatures made the Seaway a treacherous place, full of both hidden and overt dangers. Imagine finding yourself in the ancient western interior Seaway, home to some of the most fearsome creatures ever known. Among these monsters was Deinosuchus, a gigantic crocodilian that lurked in the bays, estuaries, and coastal areas. Much like the American alligator, Deinosuchus was an opportunistic predator, eating anything it could catch. Fossil evidence indicates a preference for marine turtles, large fish, and even dinosaurs that ventured too close to the water. While the shallow reefs were perilous, the open waters were no safer. In the depths roamed strange and terrifying cephalopods. Unlike the huge mosasaurs or Deinosuchus, these ancient squid-like creatures, such as Tusoteuthis and Enchoteuthis, were still formidable. These giants, reaching up to 10 feet in length, were active predators, turning the tables on their own attackers by hunting fish, invertebrates, and even baby mosasaurs and plesiosaurs. Like modern octopuses, they used their tentacles to capture prey and their beaks to devour it, and they could possibly squirt ink for a quick escape. These cephalopods were soft-bodied and vulnerable, but another ancient sea creature had a different defense mechanism. Parapuzosia, an ammonite, had a spiral shell made of calcium carbonate, providing significant protection. This creature was the largest known ammonite, with some individuals having shells up to 11 feet in diameter and weighing over 1.5 tons. Uncurled, these giants stretched to about 60 feet, making them among the heaviest invertebrates of all time. Despite their size, the daily life of Parapuzosia remains a mystery, since all members of its order are extinct. But even with these giants, the western interior Seaway was also home to sharks. Though they weren't the rulers of this ancient sea, they were still successful predators. Some of the sharks in these waters exhibited gigantism, like the massive but relatively harmless Crotodus. This whale-sized shark had a diet of hard-shelled prey, using its flat, crushing teeth to feed on crustaceans and turtles. In contrast, the voracious Critoxyrhina, or the Ginsu shark, was a more fearsome predator. This shark resembled a great white and exhibited convergent evolution, meaning it developed similar traits despite not being closely related. Growing up to 26 feet long and weighing over 5 tons, Critoxyrhina was fast and deadly, preying on other large marine predators like mosasaurs and plesiosaurs. Its razor-sharp teeth and streamlined body allowed it to deliver devastating high-speed attacks. Another notable predator was the squalocorax or crow shark. Smaller than Cretoxorina, it measured between 6 and 16 feet long, similar in size to a tiger shark. Its serrated teeth were perfect for cutting through tough tissue, allowing it to eat a variety of prey, including fish, marine reptiles, and even pterosaurs. Squalocorax often scavenged and hunted near coastal areas, sometimes attacking pterosaurs as they dived for fish. Among the prey of these sharks was the Siphactinus, a large, ugly, bony fish. Known as the X-fish, it belonged to the now extinct order of ray-finned fish. Siphactinus had a broad, slanted face that gave it a fearsome appearance. These fish were among the most aggressive and terrifying inhabitants of the western interior seaway. In summary, the western interior seaway was a prehistoric ocean filled with a terrifying array of predators. From giant crocodilians and cephalopods to fierce sharks and monstrous fish, this ancient sea was as dangerous as any monster movie. The creatures that inhabited these waters were truly the stuff of nightmares. The Siphactinus, known as the X-fish, was a top predator with a flexible jaw that allowed it to swallow anything small enough, which was quite a lot given its size. Adults could grow to be 16 to 20 feet long, and even at the smaller end of this scale, they could gulp down human-sized prey. One famous specimen, the fish within a fish, showed a 6.2-foot-long fish swallowed whole by a medium-sized Siphactinus. There are over a dozen other specimens showing similar findings. Besides this incredible gulping ability, Siphactinus had sharp, narrow teeth that allowed it to both scavenge large animals and cut up living ones to swallow in smaller pieces. This fish was definitely the last non-shark predator you'd want to meet in the water. As we explore the terrifying sea monsters of the western interior seaway, the list wouldn't be complete without mentioning the iconic plesiosaurs. Unlike mosasaurs, plesiosaurs had broad, flat bodies, short, weak tails, and sometimes comically long necks, giving them the longest neck-to-body ratio of any swimming reptile. They flapped their flippers in a flying motion and mostly stayed in shallower waters. Various kinds of plesiosaurs inhabited the seaway, including some species of polycotylids. They typically grew over 15 feet long, with Elasmosaurus and Albertonectes reaching up to 38 feet. Elasmosaurus even had the most vertebrae of any known animal. Despite their impressive length and daunting appearance, these long-necked reptiles specialized in small prey. Their narrow mouths and necks were perfect for ambushing small fish, snails, clams, and other tiny creatures. Plesiosaurs used their long necks to sneak up on prey, keeping their large bodies hidden and creating a natural fish trap with their angled teeth. Although they weren't apex predators, they were highly skilled and successful hunters, as evidenced by their diversity. So what happened to these incredible creatures? Many experienced a slow decline or evolved into something else. But the real game changer was the asteroid impact 66 million years ago. This catastrophic event caused massive disruption, especially in the western interior seaway, as evidenced by fish fossils with iridium in their gills. The impact led to tsunamis and other catastrophic effects, wiping out many of the iconic sea monsters and ending the era of Hell's Aquarium. However, the end of the western interior seaway didn't mean the end of terrifying sea creatures. Relatively recently, a species of dolphin with spear-like teeth emerged in North America. If you find this intriguing, check out my video on this topic and support the channel for more exclusive content, paleo art, and more. Thanks for watching, and until next time.